Welcome all for the night show, and today we have a really interesting topic. We're going to be talking about public transportation, but before we do that with our guest is right here tonight, and he's going to join us in, over a cup of coffee. Jassim Al-Awadhi, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
It's our pleasure. And Hassan, طبعاً, the head of the band, as usual, he joins us from time to time, not always. Yeah. So we're glad you're doing it again tonight, Hassan.
Great to see you.
Okay, so we usually actually take a random topic in over a cup of coffee, but tonight we decided, since we're going to be talking about public transportation, that we do handle this issue, and we talk about it because we know a lot of people don't use public transportation, unfortunately, including me. So this is our topic for tonight. Hassan, let's start with you.
Okay.
Do you, and please be honest, why do I feel like I'm in a courtroom? do you actually use public transportation?
To be honest, no, I don't. But sometimes if there is like specific incident, maybe we use a taxi or something from the airport, but not much as like buses and stuff.
Okay, Hassan, before we get more into this, Jassim, I mean, public transportation, does it only mean a bus, or could it be like a taxi or anything else?
The definition of a public transportation system is multimodal systems. For example, in London, you have taxis, you have a bicycle, you have a bus, you have an underground, you have a tram, what so on. And it is managed by a central regulator that represents the government.
Okay.
So in terms of public transportation, it is a lot of modes.
So Uber is a public transportation?
Yeah, and actually in London, you have to get a licensing. So it's under the regulation of TfL, the Transport for London.
Okay.
And Law 115 for the year 2014 was supposed to get taxis under PART, Public Authority for Transport.
Why so serious? We haven't started the interview yet, okay? So this is just, over a cup of coffee. Now, I honestly don't use the buses. I did when I was a kid. Like, in the old days, the household they have only one car, maybe two max. But now, in one household, you have like 6 to 8 cars. So in the old days, we used to have one car, and then, the dad is not always available. He's at work or something, you want to do something. Sometimes you want to go with the children, the other children in the neighborhood, and so on. So we did actually use the bus. I did. But the thing is that using the bus is not really convenient. Like, it's, especially in the old days, it wasn't air conditioned. Yeah. It's not convenient and so on. But my question is, do you personally use it, Jassim?
When the route, the destination origin does have a route, I do use it. But I can't use it every day because I cannot depend on it. And for it to be dependable...
You cannot?
I cannot.
Okay.
Like, I used to live in Gharnata, end of the 4th Ring Road, and I had an errand to Salmiya. By car, it was 20 to 25 minutes, but by bus, it took me 2 hours. So, yeah, for a public service, for me to be able to use it, it has to be efficient, convenient, and all these things first.
Hassan, the bus is definitely much cheaper. You don't have to fill gas for the car. You don't have to have insurance. You don't have to worry about accidents, whatever, as they say, just ride on and enjoy the ride. So why don't you use it?
Maybe, well, the lifestyle that personally now I have.
What do you mean by lifestyle? Is that because you look so elegant, you don't want to get into a bus?
No, because I have a car and, musician and, I have to be on time always.
Okay.
It's maybe a little bit more difficult, and especially like I don't have like a bus station or something like near my house. I need to walk for a while and then, to pick the guitar and have,
Okay. Well, another reason for me that I don't really use the bus is that if I'm going to a certain place, I like to, arrive right where the place is.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to walk across the street, or like maybe the bus would take me a few minutes away from the place in, in the heat of summer. Yes. You don't want to walk in mid of July to the mall, and the bus is not going to take you to the mall door for sure.
Yeah, of course. This is because of the network. Like, the issue... 10% or 5% of all bus routes in the world, and for example, London, are profitable, but the rest is a public service. So, for example, if I'm a musician, I have to have a network that has easy access to it, that I can go on, hop off without an issue. And also, it's the last time public transport was developed in Kuwait was in the Master Plan in 1978. So it's important for us to bring the topic up first so that we can actually develop it. It's a public service. For example, we won't have police until we have crimes. We have to have police first, so that then when there's something arises, we are ready for it.
Yes.
Okay, last question before we move on to our news around the world. Out of 10, how many times do you ride the bus?
Okay, so
Honestly,
on a week, once or twice.
in a week?
Yeah, once or twice a
Wow.
week. Because
Hassan, in a week, out of 10?
No, 0.
Zero. In a month?
It's been a very long time.
Okay,
since
in
I
a
ride
year?
The bus in Kuwait, but maybe when we travel.
Maybe
you
when
know,
we
it's-
travel.
it's-
Yeah, last time I've been in a bus was like 35 years ago. I don't know, maybe 40 years ago. Yeah, I'm not really proud of it, but this is the way it is. Anyway, we'll be definitely talking in more details about it later on when we have our official interview with Jassim Al-Awadhi. But I think the band Hassan has prepared something amazing for us tonight. We all know the popular song from the old days where Ibrahim Salal was the driver of the bus and they would sing Drewilna Ash Ash. Drewilna comes from the word driver. In the old Kuwaiti dialect, they would call Sayig, the driver, Drewil. So, guys, do you have the Drewilna Ash Ash ready? Asha will band. Go ahead, please. So we're going to take our tour around the world, and the first stop is in New York. Has any of you been to the Met, the Great Museum?
I've heard about it. It's one of the landmarks in New York.
It is, it is. Believe it or not, the Met, the Metropolitan Museum, has 2 million items or say pieces in New York, and they have an annual celebration, a gala, where they actually raise some money for the support of the hotel. I was going to say the hotel, the museum, and usually it's a great hub because a lot of celebrities, businessmen, and so on join, and you can see Musk in there. The cool thing is that who do you think his his companion was? He brought his mom to the celebration, which is a great thing.
That's good.
The guy has been divorced. He's been married twice, and he decided, I think that, moms, especially that in the US, next Monday is going to be the Mother's Day. So he brought his mom to the gala.
Yes, that's great.
Well, and I'm sure they're going to make a lot of money because, Elon Musk has a lot of money. So, and this is fundraising thing. So he's going to donate a lot of money for the museum, hopefully. Okay, away from New York, let's go to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And there was a couple. They were planning to get married in Vegas, and they actually got ready. They got even dressed up and went to the airport. She was in her wedding gown, and the groom also was in his tuxedo. And then they went to the airport to get married. Well, maybe also before that, we can see Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yes.
We're still in the US. Tom Cruise is here, is in the premiere of his movie, Top Gun. This was supposed to be the fourth piece of news today, but I guess we can still talk about it since it's still here. Yeah. So he arrived to the ceremony in a helicopter, and that was a big thing, like attending the movie premiere in a helicopter. And Tom Cruise can actually do bride airplanes, yes. Similar to John Travolta, and we spoke about this before. It was like a great entrance for the premiere. Okay, going back to Vegas. Oklahoma, these two couple, or the two, the groom and the bride, they were planning to go to Vegas to get married. Imagine what happened. The flight was canceled, so they missed the wedding. Would you actually, I don't know if you are married or you're planning to get married or whatever, I don't want to get into your personal life, but I mean, like imagine getting married in Vegas, right, Jassim?
Yeah, it would be a great occasion.
Definitely, definitely. Vegas like is known like to be the city of light, and a lot of people like to maybe have their their wedding, their birthday parties, whatever in there. And we also saw the movie Hangover, so they could not really make it to the to the wedding ceremony in Vegas, and the pilot decided that he's going to hold the whole wedding ceremony in the airplane with the air hostess and so on. And it was a lovely thing.
It's actually really great.
Yes. Now let's move on to Maradona. Do you remember the hand of God thing when he scored the goal?
Yeah.
Okay. Jassim, like, what do you think? Like, did you actually see the match?
No, I didn't see, but I'm a big fan of Maradona being the player that he is. He did take a very normal side to the World Cup.
True.
And people do that, and that is part of his career. That moment is maybe the top two moments of his life.
Right, right. Hassan Maradona was, you know, that was the famous phrase when they asked him, like, this goal is not really, say, legitimate. He said that it was with my head and the hand of God. And then, you know, like with the help of the Almighty God. And it just became a very popular phrase till today. Even, you know, Maradona passed away like recently, but the T-shirt that he was wearing for the actual game was sold for $9.3 million. Wow.
Yeah,
how much would you sell your jacket, Hassan?
I don't know if anyone would buy it.
And if I'm not mistaken, he also scored that famous goal in the same match.
True.
So it's a very valuable
You're absolutely right.
Yes.
He had 2 goals, and the second one was still today one of the best goals ever in the history of sports. So that was in 1986. And then another piece of news away from Maradona is also about sports, but here in Kuwait.
Yes.
Here in Kuwait, we're going to have the 3rd GCC Games, and the mascot is the Red Fox, Al-Hasni.
Okay.
Really cool, really nice. I think it's really interesting. I don't know if we have maybe an image of it. I think it's going to come up really soon here. It's going to be really interesting. It will be held from 13th of May. There it is. Al-Hasni. 13th of May till the 31st of May. All the GCC countries are participating, and usually they hold 5 to 6 sports, and they're going to have basketball, volleyball, swimming, karate, judo, and so on. The interesting thing is that they added paddle. Paddle's the thing these days. Do you play paddle?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, it's a nice sport. It's fun, and it's great because whenever you want to find somebody to play with, you'll always find it.
You're the young generation are really into it. I honestly have not played it yet. I don't know if I can do it, but I see people really enjoying it. Hassan, have you tried it?
Yes, I tried it recently. Actually, I like it. It's really
do you play tennis from before?
No.
You don't have to be really good on tennis or squash.
And, I'm really good in certain sports. Like I used to play way younger, like into martial arts, ping pong, and so it's I can use the same idea, and that's how I learned like a little bit.
Do you usually win?
Not yet. Now it's like time of practice.
Okay, okay. Well, that was really a quick tour around the world. We ended up being here in Kuwait, and I think now it's the time to maybe get more serious, Jassim, and talk more about the public transportation. Hassan, I see your band are, calling you. So if you want to join them, I'm just going to continue with Jassim and talk about the public transportation. We're going to take maybe a short break and be back with our topic of today. was a nice break with the band, and as they were playing, I was actually like imagining myself being, you know, in mid of July, riding the bus that is really air conditioned, chilling with the, you know, background of music. That would be a lovely thing to do.
Yeah.
Jassim Al-Awadhi, welcome again in our show, The Night Show.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, so let's say that Jassim Al-Awadhi is the founder of Kuwait Commute, an initiative with the mission of bringing awareness to the public about using public transportation. When al-bus, or where the bus at, this is the thing that we want to know. But before we get the answer from you, let's just have this short, maybe a report about our interview, and we'll get the answer from our guest.
Sustainability and efficiency in mind, with the average waiting time of 5 to 10 minutes due to high frequency. The structure provides the needed safety and comfort. Closed AC bus stops need security presence and lots of maintenance. The seating is proportionate with the number of users. The solar-powered light adds a sense of safety and leaves an impression of elegance and design. Our project started with an open call to include and encourage the local design community.
I would love to see such a bus stop in our streets, because they're not. I mean, this is, you know, computerized, whatever, but in reality, we don't have such a thing.
That bus stop is there.
Okay, well, you tell me
That
now.
bus stop is there.
Give me the answer. Where the bus? Where the bus at? The bus stop at?
Of course, when we talk about the bus stop, the idea of it is that we don't have a building code for bus stops in Kuwait. And with what we wanted to do is to get people, society on board with the discussion of public transportation without them using it, because the network is very restricted. So what we did with the College of Architecture is that we did an open call for all of the architects and visual designers to do a bus stop that is that requires a little bit of maintenance, that looks nice, and that has lighting. And we got the approval with Kuwait municipality via a letter sent from KPTC.
Okay.
And then the winner of that bus stop competition, there was a jury. Their reward was that they would see their bus stop being built.
Has it been built?
Yes, we built the one in
Where?
Shuhada Street in front of MBK Tower, and also on Jabal Mubarak Street.
How many of them?
We did two. The idea of
Two
it,
out
yes.
of
Well, in
supposedly 2,000?
2,195 bus stops in Kuwait.
Okay, there
so
we go.
We had to do just something to translate our online activism,
Nice.
our presentations on the ground. So that was the idea of the
Okay.
bus stop.
Well, I know this whole thing started when you were a student yourself, right? So, but my question is, what motivated you to do such a thing? Like, why?
I don't like to drive. It's just so tense. It's so tense. It's just so stressful. It takes so much time. Of course, there is two parts to transportation: the commuting and then the accessibility. So we don't have a problem with commuting because highways and whatnot, we take like a good speed. But then when we want to find parking, when we're looking to stop, when we want to enter, this is where accessibility is a problem, and this is where with the high quality public transportation, it can be solved.
Okay. And why, like, the question is, why do we have you to use public transportation? What are we coming to in the future of Kuwait that maybe is becoming a need for us to do such a thing?
Public transport is a public service, and we already need it. And how do we see this as a need? If you go to any road in Kuwait, you won't be able to use the pavement due to the fact that it's being used for parking.
Okay.
So we need public transportation, and then the lack of public transportation, we're seeing the symptoms of it. People who are affluent, they need to have a driver at home to take their kids to school and whatnot, and if not, they will have to get the school buses, and if not, they have to pay taxis. And people without an automobile are required to pay 400 to 600 KD per month on transport, and that's absurd.
The number of people using the public transportation or supposedly to use the bus annually struck me really hard. Like, can we have an idea?
It's the number decreased since 1980, in which there was about 200,000 people users at the time, which is 16% of the total population used to use the bus. Now the most recent one was 2016, and less than 2%.
And how many trips in a year?
I think something like 3 million or whatever. Like I can't remember exactly the number.
Okay.
But the percentage of the total population from 200,000, 16%, has dropped to less than 2%, to less than 80,000.
True.
even though there has been air conditioning, the buses introduced, even though all these things have changed. But the fact is that for us to use a service, it has to be ready for us to use it.
Okay, well, you mentioned the air conditioning and maybe like it becomes ready for us to use. How can we make the public transportation a better option?
Of course,
What do we need to do?
We have to make it convenient, safe, and eco-friendly.
What does convenient
And instead of me going, what I said, well, my trip from 25 minutes to 2 hours, that's not convenient.
True.
People in Kuwait are going through this every day, going and coming back to work.
Okay.
So what we need to do is to prepare this public transportation system to be ready. And the legal mandate is with the Public Authority for Road and Transportation, Law 115 for the year 2014, in which it gives it the powers to allocate a lane for buses. It allocates funding, it allocates
Because
quality
these
control.
lanes, they will help them to reach their destination faster.
Exactly, it makes it convenient, makes it attractive. Like for people to use public transport, it has to be attractive and convenient first. And its existence is not reason enough for us to use it.
Maybe also we can like divide them into like first class, coaches, and maybe, you know.
Of course, we can do that. Like what's done in London is just zoning. And what zoning does is that it provides the service for people who need it. For example, I live in Beit al-Gar. Why do I have to...
Do you actually live in America?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. Why do I have to take a route that's the same person from Mangaf, bus 999 or 102? So when you give those zoning, it makes it more convenient for me to link me with the areas that are close to me, rather than create a wrong route which takes a couple of hours.
So having such bus stops that look really nice and cool will definitely help in such a thing. And also the fares maybe can also be convenient, right?
Yeah, of course. Like as a public service, it has to be able for all of the population to use it. So this is the main thing. Like what we did with this bus stop is that we had to send a message to the population that, guys, this is a bus stop, this is not a living room, and it has to provide comfort and safety for 10 to 15 minutes. And this was a good spot to do it, in which there was service, and then just to prove our point that this is actually feasible.
And the private sector, what's their role in such a thing?
Of course, abroad, all around, I'm going to use London as an example. They have 20 bus operators.
Now we have two, I think, in Kuwait.
We have three. We have three. One public, two private. So what happens is that the private sector and also with the government regulator provides the necessary infrastructure for us to be able to have a very efficient system. Without subsidy, without allocation of land, this becomes very difficult to achieve.
Now we know that usually the expats, they use the buses more often than the Kuwaitis. The question is like, how do we convince the locals to use them? You just maybe suggested a few points here and there, but let's say, how do you see the public transportation for the locals in the upcoming 10 years?
Of course, like all of us use public transport when we're traveling.
True.
So we do have that culture. We do understand how to get on the bus, how to get off the
True.
what to expect.
Especially in Europe.
Yes. So we have to have that service there first. This is what I think you were mentioning at the beginning when you said that you used to use the bus back in the day, because it was there. That was the main. We had 50 lines before 1991, and then after that till date, all three operators use 21.
Okay.
So there has been a decrease of 29 lines, and we have asked several times why those routes have been changed, because what we want to do is that to document these causes so that we can avoid them in the future.
What is the ultimate goal that you're trying to achieve?
I don't need to drive.
You don't need to drive.
Yeah, this is the most important thing. With high quality public transportation, also there's a high quality of life, in which I don't need to waste time going to the gas station, even though it might be minuscule, but it is a problem. I don't feel stranded when my car is not functioning. I don't need to go around a lot for 10, 15 minutes looking for parking. When I live next to a road, I don't have that road doesn't have to be clogged with traffic. So this is what I want to do, is that I can go about my day. I'm talking about going to work, coming back, going to errands, nothing emergency.
True.
With high quality public service.
I personally feel this almost every day because when I drive to work, it takes me, because of the traffic, like almost an hour going and an hour coming back, which is really wasted. But usually my option is I think about having a driver. I don't really think about the bus. Now, what I want to say is that for me to use the bus, I need at least a few key points to have. Like, for example, especially for women, safety is an important thing. What else we need to have in there? Like convenience, we said?
Yes, convenience. So what we're going to talk about is that there are several items that have to be addressed for public transportation to be efficient. First of all, accessibility to the network. How easy it is for me, Jassim,
convenience,
to get to the bus stop.
Okay.
And then after that, when I use the bus stop, does that network cover my needs? How extensive is the network? And then after that is talking about services, for example, tap and pay, vending machine.
And it has to be inclusive also.
Yeah, of course. It has to serve everybody, from the user to the operator to the regulator. It has to be something very open to everybody.
Another thing, I think also a lot of people do care about this. It has to be eco-friendly, right?
Yes, yes. And what we did now, of course, we can't alter the diesel quality that's available. So we did contact a biodiesel company in which it takes cooking oil and recycles it into a diesel additive. And with one of the operators, we're going to be trying out that diesel additive to the bus to see what are the effects of adding this diesel. Does it make the emissions less? What is the quality outcome of it? And we are actually in the final stages of this experiment.
Okay, so as we're heading to the vision of Kuwait 2035, which is really important, I think public transportation has to be part of it.
Yes.
And also, from what I understand from you, is that especially the locals are willing to use the buses. It's just that maybe they don't know how.
Yeah, so one of the issues is that there isn't one local payment system. For example, why can I use my bank A when I go wherever? I can use the banking system.
My mobile.
Yeah, by mobile. And also there's a local network that encompasses all the banks.
Sure.
So we have to have that local network for the bus operators. In London, we have 20 bus operators, 9,150 buses. In Kuwait, we have about 1,100, and we have 3 operators. They have 700 routes, and we have, between the 3 operators, 21. They have 2.2 million people using the bus every day. We have about less than 90,000.
Okay.
So this is just me highlighting the importance of the central regulator.
So when we achieve this, as we wrap up, I always see this, phrase at the back of the buses: "Let us drive and enjoy the ride." So just sit back and relax, and till that day comes, I think we have to maybe seriously think about how to maybe making it coming as soon as possible.
Yes. So what we want to do is that we did this campaign and accounts on Twitter and Instagram, Kuwait Commute, where the bus at, al-bas wayne. The idea of it to build that trust with the public and interact with them and know more about it.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for the information regarding the public transportation. I would love to maybe next time when I have you here as a guest, seeing that we have achieved actually a lot in regards of the public transportation, and maybe we can always say to the driver of the bus, like, we appreciate what you do and thank you for the great job that you do. ودريولنا عاش عاش, as we said.